So let's talk about Kyle Larson. Is he the most talented driver of his generation, or is he maybe the most controversial? Today, we're going to unpack the story of a driver who went from being the most polarizing name in all of NASCAR to, well, an undeniable all-time great. Let's get into it. To really get a handle on the whole Kyle Larson saga, you've got to start right here with this one idea. Just 5 short years ago, he was the single most polarizing name in the entire sport. Fans either absolutely loved him or they just couldn't stand him. So what in the world changed? How does a guy go from that to being in the conversation as one of the best ever?
Well, it really all boils down to how he drove. From the second he showed up, he was just a different kind of talent, and it immediately split the fan base right down the middle.
Yeah, back in his early days at Chip Ganassi Racing, man, the debate was fierce. On one side, you had people who saw a future champion, a once-in-a-generation raw talent who was just waiting for the right car. And on the other side, people saw a driver who was just too reckless for his own good, someone whose aggression was always going to be his downfall. And there was really no in between.
And this is why people had such strong opinions. I mean, his driving style was just something else. He famously ran his car right up against the wall, finding speed where every other driver just saw danger. He even brought moves from the dirt tracks, like the slide job, over to asphalt ovals. It was the definition of high risk, high reward. And look, whether it worked or it ended in a wreck, you just couldn't take your eyes off him.
But just when it felt like his talent was becoming totally undeniable, his career came to a sudden, and I mean dramatic, halt. This next part of the story, this is his fall from grace. It is seriously hard to overstate just how fast this all fell apart. In 2019, he's looked at as the future of the sport. Then, boom, early 2020, he's on an iRacing stream and uses a racial slur. The fallout was immediate. He was suspended indefinitely from NASCAR. And just like that, his career was, for all intents and purposes, over.
And the feeling across the entire sport was pretty much universal. He had all the talent in the world, and he just threw it away. It really felt like we were watching the tragic end of what could have been a phenomenal career before it even really got started.
But then, in what has to be one of the most stunning plot twists in sports history, the story wasn't over, not by a long shot. In fact, it was just the beginning of one of the greatest comebacks you'll ever see.
So, after doing the work to get reinstated, he lands what is probably the best second chance imaginable, a contract with a powerhouse team, Hendrick Motorsports. This wasn't just a quiet return. This was the launching pad for a season of absolute, total dominance. And boy, did he deliver. Right away, in his very first season back in the car, he wins 10 races. I mean, come on, 10. That number alone pretty much silenced every single critic and proved he was better than he had ever been. And look, it wasn't just the wins. It was the way he did it, the sheer domination. He led for over 2,500 laps that season. I mean, week in and week out, he was the car to beat, and he was setting a pace nobody else could touch. Okay, so let's really put those numbers into perspective for a second. 10 wins in a single season? That hadn't been done since the great Jimmy Johnson did it back in 2007. And leading that many laps, you gotta go all the way back to Jeff Gordon in 1995. This wasn't just a great comeback story, it was one of the single most dominant seasons in the modern history of NASCAR. So you have to ask, right? Was that incredible season just a one-time thing? A fluke redemption tour? Not even close. What he's done since has been all about cementing his legacy as an all-time great.
So then, in 2022, NASCAR brings in this brand new car, the next-gen car, and the whole point was to level the playing field, stop any one driver from just running away with it. Well, it didn't exactly work on Larson. He just kept on winning. In fact, just look at the numbers over the last 4 years. This is supposed to be the era of parity, right? He has the most wins. He has the most top 5 finishes. And get this, he's led almost 1,000 more laps than the next closest driver. The data couldn't be clearer. He has simply been the most dominant driver in the sport, period. And all of that sustained success? Well, it led him to his second championship in 2025. And for anyone out there who wants to argue about NASCAR's playoff format, he also scored the most points over the entire season. He wasn't just the champion who won the final race, he was the best driver, full stop. Okay, so now with over 32 career wins and still climbing, he's not just some modern star anymore. No, he is rapidly climbing the all-time wins list, passing legends of the sport, and he still has years of his prime ahead of him.
So, think about it. The guy's already got 2 championships and a resume that's a lock for the Hall of Fame. So, what's left, right? Where does he possibly go from here?
Well, if he keeps up this insane pace for, say, another 5 or 6 years, the projections are putting him somewhere in that 50 to 60 win range for his career. And that would land him squarely inside the top 10 or 15 drivers of all time.
So what a journey, right? From this super polarizing talent to a total outcast. And then from a stunning comeback to an era of just pure, unfiltered dominance. He's already proven he's one of the best to ever get behind the wheel. The only real question left is, when it's all said and done, when the helmet comes off for the last time, where will he ultimately rank among the absolute legends of